Welcome to Financial Investing Radio, where you'll learn the secrets for consistent, high-probability returns in the financial markets for additional income to change your life. Grant creates consistent, high-probability trading systems for the financial markets and has applied them over the past 5 years. He's only recently started sharing these tried and true market secrets. As a gift to listeners, Grant is offering his high-probability indicators for free. Go to financialinvestingradio.com and download yours today. Now, here's your host and trading veteran, Grant Larson.
Okay, hey everybody. So this is Grant. Thanks for joining. So a number of years ago, many years ago, I was on a flight and I noticed the guy sitting next to me. He had a San Francisco 49er paperwork out. I was doing my own work, and finally they brought out the food. That's when food used to come out. So this is a little while ago. Anyway, I hadn't looked very closely at the guy sitting next to me up to that point, other than I saw some 49er stuff. Finally, the food comes out. I turned to him and I said, "What kind of work do you do?" He said, "I manage the San Francisco 49ers. I turned and looked at him closely and realized it was Dwight Clark, the famous dude who made the catch, right? Anyway, we had an awesome chat about football, including my illustrious single-year career in Little League. So he was really impressed. 66-pound weigh-in. That was awesome, he said. Anyway, what he pointed out was he said San Francisco had practiced that play many times. And, he said, but more importantly, he said they also knew the right time to execute the play. And so he said the setup was to use it late in the game as people were getting tired. So, some have argued, and if you watch some of these videos, you'll see some people argue that Montana threw the ball away. I'm not here to debate that. It was an awesome catch, no doubt. But, when you think about trading and investing, right, we got to know the plays, we got to practice them, and we got to know when to execute them. So pretty similar, except you don't have to have shoulder pads on, unless you want to. That might be a little weird. Anyway, so when it comes to stocks, one of the things that's interesting about them is, we need to know each of the stock's specific behaviors. Like, when we were looking at Walmart, the flow of the signals typically went first. The market effectiveness chart gave the gear shift. Second, on the trading chart, the market engine indicator pattern would then fire. And then third, then the market engine confirmation lines would fire, right? The yellow and then green or red lines, right? But when it comes to another stock, that the order can change a little. So Walmart's, kind of nicely predictable that way. Apple, as it turns out, not quite as predictable. So a couple things are different, right? So Apple's on a different exchange, so Walmart's on NYSE, Apple's on NASDAQ, so that's something different. The other thing that's different is the significant role that Apple plays on the NASDAQ, right? So it has a much stronger influence on that exchange and that index, so much more than what Walmart might have, right, on the larger NYSE. So what it means is we have to have more flexibility in terms of the expectation of the order. Right, so you have to be flexible with the order. So when I first started talking about it with Walmart, it was easy to say 1, 2, 3, here you go. But now that we're moving along through this, in reality, like in the case of Apple, it'll switch up a little bit. Okay, so in some cases, the market effectiveness chart, right, with the gear shift, that might come after the actual indicator pattern happens, right? So the indicator pattern might happen first. You might get a divergence or a two-step, or you might get a halfback first, and then the market effectiveness chart's gear shift might happen. And then later, the market engine confirmation lines, right? Or maybe they come first on Apple. So what's important is that the higher probability is to have all three and to weight all three. There are some times when just two will occur on Apple. Those are less or lower probability. And so you might miss some trade opportunities. I go for the higher probability stuff. I'm all about preserving capital. And yeah, I'm not trying to make home runs, although I'd like to make a cool catch, right? Like Mr. Clark did. All right, so let's take a look at some trade signals over the last few months. So first, if you go to financialinvestingradio.com, look for the podcast, charts, and video section. Scroll down and look for FIR number 17. If you do that, you'll see some links there. I'm going to put up 3 there. One that you'll find is a link to the picture of the market effectiveness chart for Apple, for the trades that we're going to talk through. The second is the trading chart, the Apple trading chart. Again, it's a range chart. I'm not really gone through what that is. It's less to do with time and more to do with movement. I'm very interested in movement rather than just the passage of time itself. I get much cleaner signals that way. Okay, and then the third thing is I've created a video where I walk through this as well. So if you like to consume it that way, listen to the podcast, then go watch the video on it. That might help, confirm some things as well. Okay, so let's look at these trading opportunities. So there's trading opportunity number 1. Now, the way I've marked it, if you look on, let me grab this here, make sure I'm not going to give you the wrong word here. Okay, here we go. All right, so if you look on the market effectiveness chart, you're going to see things like D1, H2, D3, D4, D5, okay? Those are on the market effectiveness chart. There's only so much room on those charts, so that's sort of code for the numbers are the order. Like, so when I said trade opportunity 1, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to look at D1, right? Trade opportunity 2 is going to be H2. The reason for H and D is that that's just saying, hey, this is going to be a divergence opportunity, or this turned out to be a halfback opportunity. And I put that there so that you can map to that over in the, the trading chart itself. All right, let's talk through these real quick. I'm going to go through, 5. I'm going to go through 5 of these. All right, so trade opportunity number 1. So the order that this setup occurs is that on April 28th, the market effectiveness chart at D1 gives us a gear shift. That's April 28th. A couple days later, on May 1st, on the trading chart, then we get the divergence signal. So you can see divergence 1. And notice I put on there no confirmation. What happened is, if you really see what's going on, is there was a, the bears started to try to push down on this at this moment, right? And so there's a divergence. They wanted to make it happen, but I did not get the red and the yellow coming down. You see the red comes down, quite the spike there. But if I just traded on that, I obviously would have taken a loss, right? Okay, so that was actually important that we wait for all 3. Now, there will be some cases where you get 2 and it happens, but again, I'm about the higher probability. So trade opportunity turned out to be a no-show. All right, let's wait for the next one. The next one is trade opportunity 2. Now, if you look on the market effectiveness chart, that is H2. So it means there's a misalignment here of Apple and this algorithm that's on the NASDAQ futures index. That's what that is. They're not aligned. Well, that's important to know. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, it means we want to see if we got a pattern that's going to carry out here, and then if we get a confirmation. And sure enough, if you look at on May 2nd, so let me back. May 2nd was the gear shift. May 5th then was the pattern. So if you look on the market engine indicator, it says halfback 2. Right there, it broke that line. It broke that trend line because it started at the top for the halfback, came down and touched the center, started to push up, and when it broke that was on May 2nd. Okay, so that was on May 5th. Man, am I going to confuse you guys or what? Sorry. May 2nd was the gear shift. May 5th was the indicator pattern. And then on May 5th, actually happened to be on the same day. If you look up there, I put H2 on the price chart. Excuse me, we've got both the yellow and the green popping out. There you go. That's high probability. We got all 3 lining up like that. And in this case, 2 of them on one day. That's a point where I'm going to probably sell some puts, right? Because I'm more of a seller on options. Don't like to buy them as much. All right. So that's trade opportunity 2. That worked out pretty well. Let's look at trade opportunity 3. So if you start on the market effectiveness chart and go look at May 12th, you'll see there I put D3. Now what's interesting about this is on this, we got a gear shift on both, a misalignment with the futures index as well as with the overall composite index. That's a pretty good indication, right? So we don't trade off of that. We just like, okay, time to start looking. We need other things to confirm. The next thing that confirmed for us was on May 16th. So what was that? 4 days later. So you can see it takes a little time sometimes. 4 days later, down on the market engine indicator pattern at the bottom, you'll see there's a divergence. Okay. Now that divergence here is great to note, obviously, because effective price keeps pushing up, divergence, the indicator is moving down. So that's the second. That's 2 strikes. We want the third strike, and the third strike came on May 17. And so just a day later, you can see 1 day later, we have both the red and the yellow lines come pushing down a little bit apart. They actually turned out to be on the same day, they're just apart from each other in terms of time, but it was moving down fast. Anyway, that was the trade down. Now, so that was an effective trade, but that was actually a pretty quick trade. That was a 1-day trade, really. And so I don't like them quite that short. I wouldn't have been out of it in 1 day, but in 2 days I'd have been out of it. And it's because turning around here on the, May 18th, trade opportunity number 4. So this is one of the things I wanted to point out. In this case, it wasn't a gear shift that occurred first on the market effectiveness chart. Rather, what it was is the pattern on the indicator took place on May 18th. There was a divergence. So if you look there at the bottom, you can see effective price was still pushing down, but here we've got divergence on the engine indicator. It's pushing up. Starts to give us a tip. I wouldn't buy yet anything or go bullish, I should say. But on the 19th, the next day, then we've got the 2 yellow and green lines push out on the 19th. So a day later, just that's strike 2. Now, some people, Apple's been so bullish, some people might take that opportunity there. Quite frankly, I try to wait. As much as I want to jump on that, as I'm waiting all the way over to May 25th, 26th. May 26th is when the gear shift occurs. And it occurs and even gives a little heat on it. You see that on the 26th, started to push back against, but then eventually recovered and carried on up. So that was a 8-day window for that trade. And then you're in the trade for, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 days. No, more like 4 or 5 days. And then the next pattern, this is the 5th trade opportunity. So trade opportunity number 4 was okay, not great. You would have made a little. You wouldn't have lost, though. Okay, here we go. Trade opportunity number 5. So this one is obviously a sweet deal. So the thing that's a little, iffy about this one is that it doesn't tip its hand too much. You've got a gear shift there on June 8th. I have it marked as D5 on the effectiveness chart. There you see it dips down. What I don't like about it is that it doesn't go very deep. It doesn't get to the 0 line. The 0 line or lower is my preferred disconnect level. But it's enough. Obviously, I need to have more confirmation. So I get some other confirmation the next day on the 9th, where I can see there's a divergence and even a half back that's forming. The divergence is really sort of the real kicker. And then I also get, on the 9th, coming directly out at the same time. When you see that tends to be some of the best right there. Both the red and the yellow at the same time shooting down. Okay, you got some good confirmation in this case to sell some sort of a call or be safe with buying an option. Okay, all right. So those are the good ones. What I wanted to point out here was, or those are the 5 that I prepared that I saw on here. There's another one that's forming right now. It started to form here. Looks like maybe a half back starting to form on, what's the date there? June 23rd. So yesterday, Friday. You can see halfback starting to form. Plus, you can see the green and yellow had popped up, but now the green is starting to push down. So I need more confirmation, right? Certainly don't have a gear shift. I've got maybe a halfback that's formed, but I've got the green now dropping off. So that doesn't give me confidence yet to do anything with that. But watch for that, right? It could, in fact, turn and come back bearish on us, but we'll keep an eye on that. All right, so thanks for your time. My name is Grant. I look forward to joining you on the next podcast. Till next time, trade safe. Oh, and throw an apple.
Thank you for joining Grant on Financial Investing Radio. Remember to subscribe and leave feedback. Don't forget to download your free high probability indicators before your next trade. Visit financialinvestingradio.com now.